The Concorde Agreement might not spark the same adrenaline rush as a wheel-to-wheel duel, but it's undeniably the backbone of Formula One, stitching together its complex machinery. As the clock ticks down to the 2025 expiration of this vital pact, the paddock is alive with debates over what the next iteration might hold. One proposal in particular has set the F1 world ablaze: the potential ban on multi-team ownership, a rule that would directly dismantle Red Bull's two-team empire. For a sport that thrives on tradition and innovation clashing at every corner, this idea is nothing short of seismic. Red Bull's ownership of two teams, Red Bull Racing and the Faenza-based outfit now known as Racing Bulls, has been both a masterstroke of strategy and a lightning rod for controversy. Originally conceived as Toro Rosso, the junior team was purchased in 2006 during a turbulent era for Formula One, when financial instability forced Toyota and Honda to abandon the grid. Red Bull's acquisition provided much-needed stability, transforming the team into a development ground for young talent and a vital cog in its broader F1 strategy. Over the years, this structure has nurtured drivers like Sebastian Vettel, Max Verstappen, and Daniel Ricciardo, shaping the trajectory of modern Formula One. However, critics argue that this setup skews the competitive balance. With two teams under one umbrella, Red Bull wields unparalleled influence in the paddock, from political negotiations to on-track strategies. The latest chapter in Formula One's rulebook, the 8th Concorde Agreement, debuted in 2021 with lofty ambitions for the sport's future. While it provided a sturdy foundation for continued growth, not every provision was a masterpiece. One particularly contentious addition was the anti-dilution clause, designed to shield the existing 10 teams from financial disruption. This clause mandates that any new team eyeing the grid must cough up a staggering $200 million to be divided up among the current competitors. While it safeguards exclusivity, it also raises the question: is Formula One fortifying its elite club or locking out fresh challengers who could energize the paddock? Barely a year after the ink dried on the 2021 Concorde Agreement, murmurs of dissatisfaction began to echo in the paddock. F1 team principals, including a surprisingly composed Günther Steiner, argued that the $200 million anti-dilution fee was a gross understatement. Steiner, never one to mince words, suggested that newcomers like Andretti, if granted entry, should be prepared to fork out closer to $600 million to earn their place on the grid. It was a stark reflection of how the sport's valuation had surged in a matter of months. Amid these debates, Formula One's unique quirks continued to shine. One of its more unusual features is that a single entity can own and field two teams in the championship, a rule Red Bull has exploited masterfully. Last year, the Red Bull sister team underwent another puzzling rebranding, adopting the unwieldy name Visa Cash App Racing Bulls. Unsurprisingly, CEO Peter Bayer sought to address this questionable branding decision for the upcoming season. While the FIA entry list still reflects the same name, the team's constructor is now officially registered as the Racing Bulls Honda (RBPT). This marks yet another chapter in Formula One's evolution, from a scrappy racing series for adventurous privateers to a colossal enterprise requiring billion-dollar budgets and sprawling workforces often exceeding 1,000 employees. Red Bull's acquisition of the Faenza-based team came during a turbulent period for Formula One. The global financial crisis wreaked havoc, prompting sudden exits from heavyweights like Toyota and Honda, leaving the sport scrambling to maintain a grid of 10 teams. Back then, Red Bull's dual ownership of two teams barely raised an eyebrow. Survival, not politics, was the priority. But times have changed, and the Faenza outfit is now a cornerstone of Red Bull's strategy. Zak Brown has reignited the debate, suggesting that one entity owning two F1 teams grants disproportionate political influence. His comments come amidst significant changes at the Red Bull sister team. Over the past year, a substantial part of its operations has migrated to Red Bull's Milton Keynes campus, blurring the lines between the two squads. The dynamic between Red Bull's two Formula One teams has shifted significantly over the years. Toro Rosso once relished a brief era of independence, designing their cars without much input from their senior counterpart. However, the Racing Bulls now operate with a more resource-efficient strategy, purchasing numerous components directly from the Red Bull Racing team to streamline development and costs. This type of setup isn't unique to Red Bull's empire. Haas, for example, has long relied on Ferrari and Dallara for all permissible components under F1 regulations, leading some to label them a kit car team. Their heavy dependence on external suppliers has fueled debates about the true essence of being a constructor in Formula One. Peter Bayer recently championed the move of Racing Bull's operations from Italy to Milton Keynes, calling it a game changer. He pointed out that that being based in the heart of England's motorsport hub allows the team to poach top talent more easily from competitors. Yet, not everyone sees these changes favourably. McLaren CEO Zak Brown argues that the era of a single entity owning multiple F1 teams should come to an end, urging the issue to be revisited in the next Concorde Agreement. It's a debate that could reshape the paddock's political landscape as F1 grapples with its identity in an era of skyrocketing costs and intensifying competition. Zak Brown acknowledges that Red Bull and their sister team are operating well within the boundaries of the current rules, emphasizing that his concerns lie with the regulations themselves rather than any wrongdoing. "They're absolutely playing by the rules," Brown told Sky Sports in 2024. "My issue isn't with Red Bull, it's with the rules." Brown pointed out that it's only natural for Red Bull to exploit the system to its fullest potential. As Helmut has said, he's going to make the most of the opportunity. "And why wouldn't you? If you owned two teams and the rules allowed it, you'd do the same," he added. Brown's comments underline the growing frustration among some teams about the potential imbalance such arrangements can create, further fueling the call for the FIA to revisit the regulations in the next Concorde Agreement. Zak Brown believes the current regulations undermine Formula One's goal of creating a level playing field under the cost cap. If the intent of the cap, like in all sports, is to ensure equality, then the rules as written today fail to achieve that, he explained. Brown specifically highlighted the disparities caused by AB team arrangements, arguing they give certain teams an advantage. "The whole AB team dynamic disrupts the balance. It's time for the FIA to step in and address this to uphold the sport's integrity," he added. Meanwhile, Peter Bayer, Red Bull's CEO, remains unfazed by these criticisms. Drawing from his experience at the FIA, Bayer is well versed in the intricate collaborations that exist across the F1 grid. "Honestly, the calls for change don't bother me," Bayer told Planet F1. "Having spent time at the FIA, I've seen how other teams work together. I can confidently say Ferrari and Haas are far closer in their collaboration than we are with Red Bull Racing." Peter Bayer humorously referenced Ollie Behrman's comparison of the Haas and Ferrari cars he drove in 2024, joking that Behrman described the difference as just the colour. Bayer also pointed out that the regulations for 2026 haven't altered the rules on listed parts that smaller teams can purchase. He emphasised that gearbox sharing agreements won't decide the fastest car, highlighting that the competitive edge lies elsewhere. The earliest realistic opportunity for the Concorde Agreement to ban multi-team ownership would be in 2030, as the majority of the 2026 framework is already settled. By then, the sport's memories of teams folding mid-season or abruptly withdrawing might have faded. However, for now, those steering Formula One recognise Red Bull Racing's pivotal role in maintaining a credible grid over the last 2 decades. During a time when Toyota and Honda made capricious exits and the poorly managed new entries of 2010 teetered on failure, Red Bull's commitment ensured the sport avoided dipping into single-digit team numbers. Their stability remains a cornerstone in a paddock often plagued by uncertainty. Do you think Formula One should ban multi-team ownership to ensure a more level playing field? Or is Red Bull's two-team strategy a necessary part of the sport's competitive and financial stability? Let us know in the comments. Until next time, goodbye for now.